starting today Perek Tes. And we'll read a few psukim before we get into the inyanim discussed in the Perek. Vayiki shmoya kol hamelachim asher be'ever hayarden behor ubashvele ubechol choif hayom hagodol mul halevonim achiti v'amoiri haknani aprizi achimi v'ayevusi vayiskaptzu yachdov lilochim im Yehoshua v'im Yisrael pe'echod v'yoshvei Givonim shomu es asher oso Hashem liYeshua asher oso Yehoshua liYericho ve'lo-ai vayasu gam heimo be'ormo vayelchu vayitztayoru. Okay, vayitztayoru means they faked off, they made believe, they were con artists. First con artist in Tanakh is the Givonim. Vayikchu sakim bolim lachamoreim v'noides yain bolim u'mevukoim u'metzurorim u'neolis bolis u'metulois beragleim u'slomois bolis aleim v'chol lechem tzedom yovesh hoyo nikudim v'yelchu Yeshua l'machane agilgo v'yoimru elov ve'el ish Yisrael me'eretz rechoiko bonu ve'ato kirsu lonu bris v'yoimer ish Yisrael al achivi ulai bekirbi ata yoshi ve'ech echos lecho bris v'yoimru el Yeshua avodecho anachnu v'yomer aleim Yeshua mi atem u'me'ayin tovoyu v'yoimru elov me'eretz rechoiko bonu me'oid bo avodecho l'shem Hashem elokecho כי שמענו שומוי ואסכול אשר עושו במצרים ואסכול אשר עושו לשדי מלכי אמוירה שבעבר הירדן נסיכו אין מלך חשבון ולאיג מלך הבושון אשר באשתוריס ויאמרו אלינו זקנינו וכל יושבי ארצנו לאמור קחו בידכם צידו לדרך ולכו לכרוסו ואמרתם עליהם עבדיכם אנחנו ועתו קירסו לנו בריס זה לחמנו חם הצטיידנו אויסו מבותינו ביום צייסנו ללכס עליכם ועתו הנה יובש והויו נחודים ואלה נוידס היין אשר מילאנו חדושים והנה יזבקו ואלה סלמויסנו ונעולנו בולו מרוי בדרך ואוי ויקחו האנושים מציידו והספיע השם לשאולו ויעש להם ישוע שולוים ויכרויס להם בריס לחיוסום וישובו להם נשיאי העדו. What happens? The Givonim, they come and they make believe that they are mekumt from the Eretz Rechoiko. We'll see soon what is their agenda. What do they want to do with that? We are from the Eretz Rechoiko Banu, and look at our shoes from the sun. Look at the bread became all moldy. Look at the noides yain, the packages of we brought the food. It's all cracked. It's an alte verzeichtet. We're coming from Eretz Rechoiko. We're coming from Go weiter weg. And we heard about all the miracles HaKadosh Baruch Hu did, and would like to become avodim and b'koires bris, make a pact with Yeshua and Klal Yisrael. So the Yisrael are a bit skeptic. How do you know? How do we know? Maybe you're talking one of the Zion Amomim from here? No. Take a look. Look at our shoes. Look at our clothes. I mean, we're not here. We're not locals. We come in Eretz Rechoiko, went through the Midbar, and we come from Go Weiter Weg with no shaykhs there. It's Canaan. We just heard about you, so we would like to make a sort bris, a joint venture, a pact, and b'koires bris. Yeshua, falls for it, and he's koires bris with Anshe, the people that came. This kvutza of Anoshim, I mean, the pasuk tells us right at the beginning of Yoshev Givonim, the story is told right at the beginning. They came from Givonim, just to give you a little bit of a geographic synopsis on the map. Givonim is not far from Yerushalayim. And Gilgal, where Yeshua is sitting, it's approximately 32 miles of a walk. So in Medrashes, it took him 3.5 days to get there. But they prepared the alte dos and the toast and what they did with the cracks, with all the alte verstellte mitzteirim, all this con artist geschäft, the background was prepared prior to that. Who is the Givonim? Let's walk with you through Amiveis midvem mizitz do bantish. We should know who he's sitting with. If you look at Parshas Noach, Noach has 3 sons, Shem, Cham, and Yefes. Cham is a son called Canaan. Everybody knows the story with Cham and Canaan. Canaan is the Avi Avois of troublemakers because he is the one who Lamaisa produces the Shiva Amonim. The fight that Klal Yisrael has with Zion Umis is also Tzoim of Noach, via Canaan, who is a son of Cham, who is a son of Noach. We are Tzoim of Shem. Avram Avinu is a Tzoim of Shem. Shteit HaPosach in Parshas Noach, V'Knaan Yolad es Tzidoin, Bechoiroi, Ve'es Ches, Ve'es HaYevusi, Ve'es HaEmoiri, Ve'es HaGirgoshi, Ve'es HaChivi, Ve'es HaArki, Ve'es HaSini. I'm not going to deal with the Arki and the Sini, where anybody is interested can look at the Goyin Aderes Eliyahu at the beginning of Divrei Hayomim. The Goyin says how those nations interchange and were interconnected with each other, and they were Poshet Surah Levis Surah. I would like to focus about Chivi. So it's Chiti, Tzidoin, Ches, Yevusi, Emoiri, Girgoshi. We know Chivi. We also know. Anybody knows the Zainam Chivi, and Arki and Sini is here. It's not mentioned all the Zainam that we have. So I'm saying this is a Shiloh who they are. If we go to Sefer Shmois, Shteit V'Gerashti, right at the beginning of Shmois, Cheshboch Otos Moshe Rabbeinu D'Avtocho, I'll be Megarish, Esaknaini V'Amoiri Achiti Be'aprizi, Hachivi V'Hayevusi. Girgoshi is not mentioned here, but the Chivi is mentioned. The Chivi are sitting, they are dispersed amongst many locations. Basically, they are located in 2 locations. One of them is in southwest Lebanon, in the north of Eretz Yisrael. Mamish on the Gvul, according to the Tosefta, there were a mahalach of a day and a half from Akku, going up north. And basically, they were parked in Givonim. This is the Shevet HaChivi. The Givonim, which were the Tzetzoim of the Chivim, were parked in Givonim, Kiryas Seorim. There are 4 shtetlach. Soon we're going to see all the 4 shtetlach, which this is in central. It's Lemaise Be'erech today, a 20 minutes, a half-hour ride from Yerushalayim. If you go today, you drive on Kvish 443 towards the airport, and you go through and you pass by Givon HaChadasha, Givon. This is where Givon are about, but they have the Tel Givon, where they found the Alta archaeological Givon. But this is Givon. And Yeshua is sitting 2 miles northeast of Yericho, which is a nice hour drive, 45 minutes to an hour drive from that location. We find this Chivi pops up in Sefer Bereshis. Vateitze Dina Basleya, Shchem ben Chamoyer is Nesia Chivi. So this Chivi, who is a son of Canaan, one of the sons of Canaan, goes through the Chumash, and we find him in Sefer Bereshis. We find him in next to Vochel Parsha by the story of Shchem ben Chamoyer, who is Nesia Chivi. He was from Chivi. We find them later when the Kodesh Baruch Hu says the Haftocha in 4 places in Torah. Chivi is always mentioned there as part of the Zayin Hamumi. They came at the 40th year, right before, or the 39th or the 40th, the Machlekes HaMidrashim. They come to this Givonim, showed up in the times of Moshe Rabbeinu. When we read in Parashat Nitzavim Vayelech, Michoitev Eitzecho Ve'at Shoyev Meimecho, this is the Nesinim. Anybody who learned Shas, Ksubis, Kiddushin, you learn about Nosin, and Nosin is from Zera Givonim, which they came in the times of Moshe Rabbeinu, and they wanted to be Koyres Bris, and Moshe was Koyres Bris. He took him in. He did not take him Legamre, but he made him into Nesinim to Choytev Eitzecho Asher B'mecho. In the Gemara, there's a shaila: what's the difference between the Nesinim in the Tkufa of Moshe, here in the Tkufa of Yeshua, and further on in the Tkufa of David HaMelech? Let's push fast forward. They're coming over here. They're con artists. They want to sign a pact with Yehoshua bin Nun, even though they're part of Zion Amami. Push fast forward to Sefer Shmuel. In Sefer Shmuel, there is a Rav. We find later there is a Rav. Why there is a Rav? The Kodesh Baruch Hu tells David HaMelech that the reason why Al Yad Shaul Asher Heimis Es HaGivonim. Shaul killed the Givonim. So the Gemara Akash at the end of Bukame, Shaul killed the Givonim. I didn't find Shaul slaughtered the Givonim. So the Gemara Mitzoich Shehorag Esa Noivir Kohanim. Shaul killed the Kohanim because he thought they were siding with David. So when I say he eradicated and killed all the, and the Givonim were Mesapki Mayim and Moza into Noiv. Noiv and Givon were next to each other. You know, Beis Hamikdash was Noiv and Givon. So Noiv, the Ir Kohanim Noiv, the people who serviced and got the entire Parnasa were the Givonim. So the Givonim's Parnasa was from supporting Mesapki Mayim and Moza to Noiv Ir Kohanim, which did not have any natural resources. And since he killed all the Kohanim, it was no business, so they died by Rav. So since our fathers died, whoever escaped that could have run away, ran away. So Mimele, the Kodesh Baruch Hu zok to David, you killed the Givonim, now you deserve to have a Rav. You were Shaul, your father-in-law, caused the Rav, you're going to pay back, reciprocate, in the very same token of reciprocation. David goes to the Givonim, he says, Lama machen av geschäft. Come on, let's forget about it. Whatever it was, what do you guys want? You want kesef, you want zov, tell me what you want, let's make a bris. They said, we don't need any of your financial resources. One thing we want sweet revenge. We want to kill Shaul's kids. After heavy negotiations, David hands over 7 of Shaul's kids, and they are being Michoel alachoimo. They kill them and they slaughter and they hang them up to dry on the walls of the Chayim of the Shalom. Where's the Chayim of Beis She'on or anywhere else? But this is what they did. And this was in exchange for the Rav, which was caused by Shaul. This is the Rambam, Ad Hayom Hazeh. If the Rambam says, if you look at the Rambam says, the Lashon Rambam is, Mi sheyesh bo azus sponim, או אכזוריוס וסוינס הבריאוס, יש תדרם in פרק יוטס ניסורי ביה, חושש שם הגבעוני הוא, שסימוני ישראל ההוא מהקדושה בישונים רחמון וגם החסותים, ובגבעונים הוא אומר, והגבעונים לא מבני ישראל אימו, לפי שיזו פונים ולא נספייסו, ולא יריחמו על בני שאול, ולא יגומו לישראל חסד לבדך לבני מלכום, והם עשו עמוהם חסד בתחילו והחיו. You remember? 430 years ago, your Elta Zayda came to Yehoshua bin Nun. You guys knew the game was over. You always get puts. You said a fake story. You came in, you fakofing stories, and Yehoshua makes a bris, and because of that bris, you got indemnifications. You got a diplomatic immunity, and you are not being eradicated like anybody else. All the Zion Umas Yehoshua kills, and the Givonim stay alive. You should have had some kind of a kol satoy for this Elta Zayde for Shaul who did, and you didn't. So Michoel, Rambam says if somebody is nishkil rachmonim, guys azusponim or achzorius, and he's soiner sabrius and is not going mil chesed, choishishim. This is a Rambam. This is not a Rambam in Hilchos Deis. This is a Rambam in Hilchos Yisur Biyah. This is a Rambam in Hilchos Lova Bekol. If you see a guy who is arachzori, you choishish maybe it's a givonim. Not the givonim. I want to tell you something. Push fast forward in the time of Ezra and Nehemiah, when they come back, the Chorosh and the Masga come back from Bavel, the Nesinim who always annexed themselves, though mistapeach to Bnei Yisrael, they go to Golus with Nebuchadnezzar, and they come. Ezra and Nehemiah and Zerubbabel and Shaltiel, when he's taking out the exile. Anybody who learned Kiddushi knows Nosim. Nesinim were part of it, and Nesinim were the Givonim. So the Givonim are making a tour. They're going with Bnei Yisrael. They're becoming part of Klal Yisrael. They're always second-class citizens. They are also Lova Bekol. They are Chayva Lavin. Kiddushin is Teufes, but they have a deal like a Mamzer, and they cannot marry into Israelim. They can marry into a Mitzri, to a Adumi, to a Shtuki, to a Mamzer, to a Sufi, to all those people who are Chayva Lavin. But they themselves are part of Klal Yisrael with the Chayva Lavin. So this, we have a shtickle map or where the Nesinim are. Here we find them a year after they did the same trick on Moshe Rabbeinu, who took him in Chayt V'Yezer Yeshimayim. They come in and they say, Yeshua nicht eingefallen. They're showing them, their Albach says, hey, you were there. You saw what he did to Moshe, and Moshe didn't accept him. What are you making deals? Yeshua fell for it. Okay. Now, I'd like to, today, we're not going to be able to do the whole thing today, but let's start taking it apart. You have the papers in front of you. I would appreciate it if I get a copy. Okay. So, due to Kreitzer Hazman, we're going to do it a shtickle faster. Steht in Teure in Parshas Shoftim. Look at reference number 1. Ki sika vel ili lochem alev v'koros eleh l'sholem. Ve'ohem sholem ta'an chol poscho l'cho, ve'hoyo kol ha'om ha'nimtzo bo yir l'cho l'mas v'avaducho. V'im lo yisash li mimoch ve'osis ha'imcho milchom v'tzarto l'cho, u'neson Hashem l'kecha b'yotcha v'yikisa kol zechur l'fi chorev. רק הנושים והטף והבאים ובכל אשר יהיה בעיר כל שלולו טוב יזלוך ואוכלת שלל איבך אשר נוסן השם אלוקיך לך כן תעשה לכל האורים הרחוקס ממך מאוהד אשר לא מאורי הגויים האלה רק מאורי האומים אשר השם אלוקיך נס לך לך לשיחה לכל תשומו כי הכם תחים מחיתי והאמורי הכנעני הפריז האחיבי והאיבוסי כאשר ציווך השם אלוקיך זאת רש"י כי סיקרא ולעיר במלחמת רשוס הכוסם מדבר כמו שמפורש בעניין כן תעשה לכל האורים. Rashi Shita is in Chumash and throughout Shas that the whole deen, the halacha is when you start a war, you first gotta go and try to negotiate peacefully. This deen of Koros Eleh L'Sholem Zok Rashi, it's only Milchemes Rishus. But Milchemes Mitzvah of Zayin Amamim, there's halacha l'Sechai Kol Neshama. No peace, no diplomacy, go get the job done, kill them. This is Shitas Rashi. If you look in the Sugye in Soite, and I shortened it for you, the Sugye in Soite in the Daf Hamud Beis, there's a machlekes of Rashi and Tesis. The Shaila is a machlekes Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon in the Isur L'Sechaya Kol Neshama, if they are Choyzer B'tshuva and the Mekabel Zayin Mitzvos B'nei Noach. So, the Das Rabbi Yehuda, even if they are Mekabel Oil Mitzvahs, and even they are becoming Bali Tshuva, they become Ger Toishav, Shaloi La'avad Avid Zorah, Machmas Yiro Emoisim, they do it because of fear, and it's not a genuine Geirus, it's a bluff, you don't accept them. Rab Shimon says that if they were Mekabel and they did Tshuva, you are Mekabel them. Zokt Rashi, Hados is als Bazayan Umis, that they don't dwell in Eretz Canaan. They live in Lebanon, in Saudi Arabia, in Ammon and Moav. If they come from the outside, you have a Knaani, a priest that went outside. If he comes from outside and he wants to do tshuva, of them, helft, tshuva. That's the Da'as Rab Shimon. And of them, Zokt Rabbi Yehuda, no. The deen of L'Sechaya Kol Neshama is even in Zayin Umus that come from Chutz La'aretz. This is how Rashi learns the Sugya. Again, Rashi clearly and precisely. Shivas Umay, we pass like Rabbi Yehuda. Shivas Umays, there is a deen of L'Sechaya Kol Neshama, irrespective if they do tshuva, if the Mekabel Geirus, doesn't help. Shitas HaTosfos, that, look at Tosfos, that ein mekablin mizayin ami misheberetz Yisrael the din of L'Sechaya Kol Neshama, v'kol zeh zok Tosfos la'achar shehischel Yeshua lich b'ishes ha'aretz. Aval kodim shekov sheim chozer b'tshuva v'kibul and zayin mitzvot b'nei noach mekabel noisam. Tosfos shita is that this all din of L'Sechaya Kol Neshama was gizogav b'zayin amamim is only after Yeshua was kodesh Eretz Yisrael. But prior to that, if they come, you know, there were much transportation between Eretz Canaan and people went through Ma'abor Sayarden. The Verizana was open. People went back and forth. And Moshe Rabbeinu, according to some Rishonim, Moshe Rabbeinu's Nesinim were accepted because they were Mekabel, Shaloi La'avad Avid Zorah, and Mas and Avdus prior to Yeshua crossing the Yarden, because Moshe was before Yeshua, and therefore Moshe accepted him, and he made him Choit ve'etzim Yishav Eimayim. This is the second sheet. Again, he's in agreement with Rashi that there is a halacha of L'Sechaya Kol Neshama, but he just says he's a commencement date. This whole deen of L'Sechaya Kol Neshama, Bazayin Umas, irrespective they do tshuva or not, This is only starts when Yeshua crosses the Yarden. But in the 33 days that Yeshua took over from Zion Ador Moshe died till Yud Nisan, if anybody comes, crosses the river, and comes across and wants to do tshuva, you mekabel. If he's a real Baal tshuva, you mekabel. Because the Easter of L'Sechai Kol Neshama did not start yet. Shita Saramban al Torah. Look at this. Af la'achar she'ischilu b'milchemes kibush haaretz v'chosu v'tshuva v'kiblu zayin mitzvos b'noach u'mas v'shibud u'ksiv b'krov v'hoyo kol ha'om hanimtzeh bo l'masa avaducho. The Ramban says that even in Zion Amamim there is a din of kriya le'er l'shalom. The difference between the Zion Torah says me'orei ha'rechoikes and the kroives. What happened if they didn't do shalom? If they didn't do shalom, so by Zion Amamim the halacha is you kill everyone, irrespective of Noshim Betaf. And by Ha'orem HaRechoikes, you only kill the man, the women, and the Taf, and the behemoths. You live alone, you take it for shalom. So the Ramban Shita is that this, when the Torah says, Kisikra, even Klosel, the shalom doesn't make a difference. If it's Zion Amami, if it's Adumi or Mitzri, or if it's Knani, Chivi or Chiti, there is a din Kriya L'Shalom. The Olaf Kemina between Zion Amami and other Umays is only beyachas to what happens if they're not Mekabel Shalom. But if they are, accepting Shalom, again, so the Ramban, they have to be Lamas, Vavaducho, and has to be Geiris, all the contingencies that they meet, if they met the contingencies, the halacha is you accept. Shita Sarambam, a little bit like the Ramban with a little tweak. Look at the Ramban, in Oisim in Odom Milchama Ba'ilom, Ad Shekoyim L'Shalom, Echad Milchemes Rishus, Ve'echad Milchemes Mitzvah, Shene'emar, Itika V'Krosel Lev Shalom, Im Yishlimu, Ve'kibul Zayin Mitzvah, Shenstav Deinoach, Enoigim Me'em Neshomo, V'areim Lemas, Shene'emar Lemas V'avaducho, Kiblu Hamas, V'lekiblu Avdus, Kiblu Av, V'lekiblu Hamas, and Shem Ad Sheyikablu Shneim, V'im Lo Yishlimu, או שישלימו ולא קיבלו זין מצווס, או יסמים מלחום ואוירגים כל הזכורים הגדולים בויזזים כל ממוין וטפם, ואין אוירגים לא איש ולא קודם. באמת ואומרו במלחמת הרשוס, שהוא שאר האומס, אבל במלחמת זין עמם והמולק שלא ישלימו, הם מניחים מהם כל נשומו שמעכן תעשה רק מהעמים והערי העם לשיחי כל נשומו, וכן הוא אומר בהמולק תמחה זכר המולק, ומניין שאין מדבר אלו באלה שלא ישלימו, שנאמר, להויסו עיר אשר השלימו בני ישראל בלתי אחי ויואש וגיוון, אס הכל לוקחו במלחמה כי מאיס השם הויו לחזק ליבום לקרס המלחמה אס ישראל למען אחימו מכלל ששולחו לשולם ולא קיבלו. Before we go any further, state the Yerushalmi. Look at the Yerushalmi, if in reference number 6. Omar Rabbi Shmuel, Sholoish Partisinios Sholach Yeshua L'Eretz Yisrael Ad Shalei Konsul La'aretz. What this girsa, which is bolded, is actually Konsul La'aretz is vague. There are a few girsos in Yerushalmi. Misha Loitze Lipones, Ipone. Lahashlim, Yashlim. Lahasas Mulchoma Yas. I give you 3 options. You want a war? War. You want to make peace? Peace. You want to escape? Escape. Girgoshi Pino ve'emin HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'holach le'Afrika. Ad boy v'lokachti eschem l'eretz k'atzechem zu Africa. Ponim Horav came right after the Holocaust, first time to Africa. They said, nu Rebbe, wo jokst auf Afrika? So, das ist doch Girgoshi. Alle Girgoshim sein denn doch. So, der Girgoshi pona ve'olach le'Afrika. Givonim ishlimu, v'chi ishlimu Yoshe given us Eretz Yisrael, shloishim ve'echad melochim osim l'chama v'noflu. So you have a clear-cut 3 options, which all 3 were exercised. Girgoshi made an exit strategy, ran to Africa. Givonim came, made peace, and the Lamed Aleph Melochim were foolish enough to fight and lose the battle, lose the war. Zog the Ramban al Torah. Look at the Zelber Ramban. I'm continuing. So the Ramban, ובדברי ירושלמי אלה מבואר גם במלחמת מיצר שכיבוש הארץ נאמר די שקרוס עולה לשלום. In Yerushalmi, Rashi says the holding Kriya L'Shalom is only by Sha'arum es Milchemes Rishus. So the Ramban steht doch klar in Yerushalmi nicht das. Okay? Toises in Gittin in Daf Memvov Amud Aleph, and I bring the Toises, says the Yerushalmi in Yerushalmi actually Konsul La'aretz, and the Ksovim he sent them before Shenichnasu La'aretz, but if they were, Yeshua sent it before. Yeshua sent, he had a 33 days of making coalition before he goes into Eretz Yisrael, from Ptiras Moshe till he crosses the Yarden. During that time, he sent those telegrams to each and every one of the 31 Melachim. So during that time, the Takadin of Korosa, the Ramban is right. The Teretz and Rashi, shouldn't be shver for the Yerushalmi, because this actually consulos. But when she consulos and Rashi as a look thesis, there is a din of Lesachai Kol Neshama. That's why according to Rashi, it's not a steer for the Yerushalmi. Yeah. This is a sweep shot him. This is a steer in thesis. Now, the Givonim did not make that. When is the story of the Givonim taking place? After Milchemes Yericho and the Ai. If I had to put a date on it, based on the Psikte, and based on the Bryce of the Seder Elam Rabbah, we are right now here on or about Asuri Shtemesre Be'iyar from Oysa Shana. A month after that, they already had Milchemes Yericho, they already had Milchemes Ho'ai, 2 Milchemes Ho'ai, and after Milchemes Ho'ai, when there's a Balagan, here is when they come through. Basically a month. Shaila Radala is a different gear, so maybe a month and a week, 5-6 weeks. Let's stop. But it's after Milchemes Yericho and Milchemes Ai. So according to Rashi, I understand why the Givonim had to be con artists. Hitztairu. They had to fake it off. Why? Because even Chazor B'tshuva, this is already after Nichnasu La'aretz. And after Nichnasu La'aretz, there's no Din Kosel L'Shon. So if they're going to come and not going to be con artists, they're going to get slaughtered, they're going to get killed. So ich verstehe sehr gut why they had to stell avek this whole. But according to the Rambam, and according to the Ramban, that the din of Kriya L'Sholom Zoktzach Nish, no, there is no discrimination between Sh'ar Umes and Zayin Amomim. Zayin Amomim is also din for Karosel L'Sholom. And if the Mekabel, Mitzvahs, and Avdus, and Mas, they are well accepted to mingle and to become part, integral part of Klal Yisrael. So why do you have to be a liar if you could do it straight? Why didn't the Givonim come straight and say, we are Tzertzoi Achivi, we are from Zayin Amomim, and we know the Aloha, we came to the Motzei Shabbos Shir, we heard Klor, that according to the Rambam and the Ramban, if there is a Aloha, if they're Mekabel oil mitzvahs and Masing Avdus, and we're willing, and they said Avodim Anachnu, and we're willing to do everything. They want to save their lives. But what do they have to come in with a sheker? The Emes Yore Darkoi, look at the Rambam. The Rambam fragt the Shai. The Rambam look at the reference number 9. Steht in the Rambam as Shloisho Ksovim Sholach Yehoshua Achele Nichlas La'aretz. Arishen Sholach Lo Mi Sheroitze Livroyach Yivrach. V'chozer V'sholach Mi Sheroitze La'ashlim Yashlim. V'chozer V'sholach Mi Sheroitze La'ashlim Yashlim. Im Kein. Rambam Zakashe. Mipnei Ma'er Rimu Yosh V'Givoin. Why does Yosh V'Givoin have to be a con artist? Zog der Rambam, lefi shesholach lohem bichlal, velo kiblu, velo yodu mishpat Yisrael, vedimu sheshuv em poischim lohem l'shol. Yeshua sent it to a post office box in Yericho. More state lohoyo. There wasn't a melech, there wasn't a sar that didn't have on the avenue, they didn't have an embassy, a consular. So Yeshua sent a grace a telegram, they said, please make copies for everyone and give it to them. They didn't know if it's effective, it's meant to them. They weren't 100% clear, and they don't know. Could be it's takeas, maybe the halacha is only achi consulars, and lachashi consulars is not. We don't know if it's meant to us. It's very general power of attorney, and we don't know if it's dedicated. We don't know if it's revocable, if it's irrevocable. We're not taking chances. Let's come and say me'eretz rechoika mashe batuach batuach. And we are not going to get exposed to endanger our life. The Radak, look at the Radak. The Radak fragt eich derselbe kashe. In Posuk Zayin by us. In Kain, lomo hutzrichu, yoishvei givoin, leharim, velekiblu asholim, lefi sheyeshua sholach bichlal lekulim. It goes like the Rambam. He says in Ochaknech, veyoishvei givoin choshvu, aloi gamken sholach leyericho velaham la'ashlim. He sent one telegram for everyone. And they didn't think, if the the guy gets a peaceful agreement, a peaceful option, they're going to go make a Mechama Yericho. He's offering you a peaceful solution. He says he sent it also to Yericho. And look what happened. Just now. We had a Mechama Yericho, he killed, the slaughtered. He didn't leave anyone. 30,000, 50,000, whoever he killed. Ulai lo yakayim avtochosoi lo yoshvei oretz azois. Maybe the whole thing is ongestellt. Ubemir hu shaleach lahashlim kidei shelo yishamru mehem. It's another trick. Listen, we heard in the eye, he made an ambush, he went in the front, he stand in the back, he started a fire in the front and the back. We are dealing with a shrewd, sophisticated operator, and can't trust him. And this is another gimmick of him trying to slaughter us. So we can't trust him. The Rambam just says it was a general power of attorney, not a dedicated power of attorney. According to the Radak, he said, Gita Kuk, you know what I mean? We have no doubt that our brothers, our fellows, our cousins in Yericho, in the Heights, all big happy family, Einiklach from Canaan. Our cousins would definitely have taken a peaceful solution. And they did, and they fought. Apparently, this whole thing is a scam. I want to tell you, there's a tremendous yalkut the next Woche in the Keparsha. It says Shimon Valevi came b'mirma. They made a trick. They say the Chivi says, you opened up a Mirma account with us. We're going to use your sophisticated, shrewd operations in generations to come. Ma'ato b'mirma afanachlu b'mirma. Shenemar v'yavoyu anshe achiva. That they paid back. Unsere Zaydes dort, Shimon Valevi says, boy, make a mila. So the whole thing, everybody, a liar is suspecting the other liar, is suspecting the other liar. Nobody trusts nobody. Mele Mashe Batuach. We're going to come be'omem mit Rebbe Shebekishes, Alta Tzerisene, Tagatl, Tzerisene Gatl, and we are going to, as a state in Radak. So Radak and the Rambam both say the same thing. What happens? Let's look at the next three psukim. Vahi miketz shleisha yomim. Okay. Yeshua accepts, he signs a pact. Vahi miketz shleisha yomim. After 3 days. Hashakosu lehem bris. Vayishmu ki kroivim hem elov ubekir ben yoshvim. These guys, the Yoshvim Given opened their mouth. After they were Megayer and after they signed the contract, they took it to an irreversible power of attorney and a pact which was signed, sealed, signed, and notarized, and they started opening their mouth and said, you know what, the emissary Radarkei, wir sind Schchenim, wir sind Dorf, Mamish, a Heimischer, a Landsmann. Vayisu Bnei Yisrael see that what's happening here. Vayavoyu al Areim, Bayoyim Ashlishi, Ve'oreim Givonim Ve'akfiro, Ube'erois, Ve'kiryas Yorim. Yours truly, I dwell there for a couple dozen years in this Kiryas Yorim, if it's the same Kiryas Yorim. Oh, but this is Zoba Kiryas Yorim, if you remember, that we had from the Orain that came later after he was captured by Plishtim. We spoke about it once. So Givonim and its surroundings and the peripheries, which were four Shtetlach, all not far from Yerushalayim. So Bnei Yisrael Vayisu, they took a journey, took the train, they went down and they see where they come from. The whole thing is a Baba Maisa. Right? Velohikum Bnei Yisrael. Ki, why? Nishbu lahem nesiya eida b'Hashem Elokei Yisrael, vayiloinu kol eida al anisim. והם קודשים כל העדה, אנחנו נשבענו להם בשם אלוקי ישראל, ואתה לא נוכל לגוע בהם. זויס נעשה להם, ואחי אויסם וליון לקצף על השבוע, ויאמר להם, חוית ועצים שואב מים, ויקרא להם ישוע, boom, 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 and Yeshua makes him again to chayt ve'etzim she'avim mayim. So after they called the bluff, v'hi miketz shleishes yom, this can't einhalten, take it easy. V'hi miketz shleishes yomim. After 3 days, they spilled the beans, and they find out that the whole thing was a trick. Bnei Yisrael are extremely angry. V'lo yiku, as steht in Novi, v'lo yiku means to say, and everybody got together and they decided, listen, we got to go ahead and kill them. These guys are the ganze Sache given fake news. It's not true. The shaila is, here is the shaila. According to Rashi and Taisis, that the Izalach is a Chai Kol Neshama, so I understand why they wanted to kill them. According to Rashi and Taisis, the Alter Rashi and Taisis in the Sugi and Saita, so I understand. But according to the Rambam and the Ramban, Lamaisa they did tshuva. And Lamaisa, They did Geirus, so the Makabel, Zayin Mitzvahs, they did it. So why is it Rabbi Neim, L'chur, the Kabbalah helps? You're right. It was done in a non-kosher fashion. It was done in a tricky fashion. Not in a glad kosher approach. They faked it off because they were afraid. They're the owner vase guys. They thought that this Yeshua's letters are null and void. But Lamais is Makabel mitzvahs. They made Geirus. Yeshua is not going to make Geirus and Makabel mitzvahs if they not. It wasn't a reform Geirus. It was a real Orthodox Geirus with Ashgacha of Adar Rabbanim. So why in the world the Rabbi and they finished it? Demonstrates that what do they want to V'lo yikum? B'nai Yisrael lo yikum. What did Nisim? Nisim says you can't kill them. You can't touch them. Why? Because it be Chil Hashem. Made a shvur, you can't go back on our words. We made it betos, but we made it on them. Zog der Radak. Look at the Radak. Zog der Radak. Im Kain. Achar sheishlimu yoshvei Givonim lo mo yohorgim oisom b'nei Yisrael lula hashvur. לפי שאיתו אויסום וקורסו להם בריס בטוס ואויה בדין להוגום אם לא יהויה בדובר חילול השם מפני השבוע כי אף על פי שאויסה השבוע בטוס אם לא יקיימו אויה בדובר חילול השם כי רבים ישמעו בשבוע ולא ישמעו בטוס ובאיס השבוע לא יזכירו תנאי בשבוע ולפי שאיתו אויסום הקשו בעבודוסם ולא יניחו שיהיה למעשה עבד Elo shiur ve'etzim v'shev himayim la'ida. In other words, the Esek L'chura, according to the Rambam and the Hadak, L'chura, there was a Kabbalah mitzvah. He said because they faked it off. So the Shvua was a Shvua betos, but being that they didn't put in a contingency in the contract, or they made the bris. The Hadak was there, he saw the contract. They made the bris, they didn't say any subject to that this is done in good faith, and no, there's no, they didn't make any declarations that whereas we are 100% this and this and that, and this is emes kosher, but that's Lamita shel Torah coming believe shalom. So Mimele, this place was a shvur betos. So Mimele, if the war and be mekayim, people are going to say Klal Yisrael signed the contract. It'll be a chil Hashem, even though be Yisoid there was a shvur betos. And Shvur B'Torah they had a way out, but being the is a tzad of Chil Hashem supersedes the fact, the cancellation which is allowed, being that you were tricked and being that the Shvur was given the Shvur B'Torah. Azay Zok the Radak. Look at the Rambam. The Rambam says the Zelber Rambam the Hemshech V'Loma Kosher Adover LeNisim V'Ro Sheroi LaHaKoisom. Why is it shver for Nisim Roi LaHaKoisom V'Cherev Lula Shvur Mnei Shekosel Lem Bris? ואוימר לא תיכרו יש בריס, להם בריס אלא הויו דינם שיעור למס עבודים, ואויל בתוס נשבו להם, הויו בדין שיארגו על שהיתום לולי חילול השם. So the reason why they want to kill them is because the shvur is a shvur betos. They fake them off, and that's a way to get out of the bris, and then once you get out of the bris, is halacha. They're not doing it as a revenge that they faked them off, but in as much that the shvur is a shvur betos, so Mimele, the Krisa's bris is null and void. Once the Krisa is null and void, he's Allah. This is they want to kill them. But Bibal, there was no what? Fine, but they did it. They did it. They came. They did it misled, and they did it b'sheker. The shvur was a shvur betos. The bris was a bris betos. So Mimele, they could as they zokta. Mele, these guys are fakers, these guys are con artists, and the shvur is the shvur betos. Mele, the shvur is not chal. Mele, the whole deal is off. Mele, once the deal is off, Mele, they should have been that, and the Rambam likes too, that v'oimele sichos lehem bris, and they had to be lemas avodim. Mas avodim is only paying taxes, not there's not, and Yeshua degraded him. And he put him down and he said to them, he downgraded them, he didn't make them the Masal Avdus. What's this din of Krisa's bris? We don't have too much time left. But what is this din of Krisa's bris? So I want to tell you something. I'll share with you in the next couple of minutes. Sigiven in later generation, in the times of Dor HaMelech, Sigiven HaGoy, was at Geisen Chirom, who was Melech of Tzoyer. Melech Tzoyer Harishon. Okay? If you learn, you read the Haftarah of Hashem Nosan Chochmo Lishloimei. Chiro Melech Tzoyer is sitting in the wealthy Lebanon with major natural resources, and he's starting to say a pact with David HaMelech. David HaMelech tells him, I'm going to build a Beis HaMikdash, I'm going to need some trees because Arzeh Alevonu, there was nothing like Arzeh Alevonu. I want to make a bris with you. Okay, so he sends some samples. I'm just going to make a long story short. And then David dies and Shlomo takes over, and